Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back. Welcome to Here Be Dragons. Welcome back to the I Know That Nerd series. And this week we are very, very happy to welcome Helena from the Clueless. Helen or Helena? Let's set the record straight.
So my actual name, and as we're friends now, Stephen, my actual name is Helen. So I think Helen is super fine. But Helena is from, I had that name before, Helena making Mordor great again. Yeah, so both are fine. My real name is Helen.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with Helen from the Clueless Fangirl YouTube channel, where you focus on Tolkien. So, Helen, wie geht's und willkommen.
Yay! Do you know what? This is actually the first time somebody speaks in my mother tongue to me. How do you know German? And yeah, mir geht's sehr gut. Vielen Dank.
Okay, well, that just went over my head. I know it because I can look things up on Google Translate.
No way.
Okay. So this is for a little bit later. Well, you know what? Let's just jump in. I lived in Germany when I was a very, very small child.
I think I remember you
Yeah.
said that on one of your streams, right? Yeah.
Or maybe at that party at Con of Thrones.
Or maybe that. Yeah, it could be. But I thought you were in the I'm really bad with like military stuff. Weren't you in the army as well?
I was.
Yeah, so but you were not, because a lot of the guys I know from the US, like J.R.R. and all of them, they were stationed in Germany for a
Right.
while. So that was not it for you.
Not me. I was never stationed in Germany.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so Helen, your channel, the Clueless Fangirl, how long have you been making videos? Not very long.
Ooh, like 4 months, 3 months ish. I just started before Christmas.
Right? But you're putting out something like once a week, something new, and not something that's 5 minutes long. You're putting out things that are long conversations and deep dives into this Tolkien lore, and not third age stuff. We're talking about like Silmarillion and old stuff. I have loved it. I really have.
Yeah, I know, and you made like literally the loveliest comments since video one. So thank you for that. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, you're right. I I wanted to do 2 videos, but it's as you see, it's a lot of work, because unfortunately, like the lovely John who's in the chat and who I stole from you, but I think we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
We'll fight it out probably at a later time, or latest at Con of Thrones you'll push me into a pool or something, or we'll have a Jedi fight.
Something, because for those of you that don't know, John Webster, co-host over here on Here Be Dragons, has done 3 separate collaborations with you now.
Yes, and we're planning to do a lot more. Yeah, and as John knows, it's a lot of work to get into Tolkien, because I think we all met through A Song of Ice and Fire, right? And I like the books, and obviously I love the show, except from the end. And Tolkien is very complicated because he didn't publish everything in his lifetime, and there are many things that he went back to, and there are so many books out there. I think maybe you have watched one of the videos I made. There are a lot of books, like unfinished tales and stuff like that. So I like to go and give the reader or the listener all the information, not just from the Lord of the Ring or just from the movies. I like to give him all the thoughts Tolkien had, including my thoughts on a certain topic. And that literally takes, I don't know, 10, 15 hours for one video, because I don't have everything still in my mind.
Right.
I read the books very often, reread them like every 2 years.
But there's a lot in there. It's hard to know it all.
Yes,
Like
yes.
I've read A Song of Ice and Fire 4 times over the last 7 or 8 years myself. I can't remember all of that stuff.
Yeah. a lot is going on, and this world is so big. And just imagine if R.R. Martin had additional books to, like, if he had like 5 different stories of the book Feast of Crows, and it's
Right.
it's it's crazy, but it's fun at the same time. And I think it gives people who think they know a lot of the things, who've read, for example, the Lord of the Ring or even the Silmarillion, but haven't read the additional stuff, it gives them more information and more background stories on why things are the way they are. So I really love that. And so it takes me a long time to put out a video.
Well, you're clearly putting your work in, because I've loved everything you've done,
Oh,
from your scripted solo stuff to your more like conversational stuff that you've done with John and with
Carol.
Carol Brown.
Mhm.
It's all top-notch stuff, and there's nothing quite like, okay, I'm an American, so to me you have kind of an exotic accent, and even for a German, your English is with a German accent, but you learned your English from England, not from America. Is that right?
Yes, I went
I can
to
tell
boarding.
when I hear you talk.
Yeah, I went to boarding school for a really, really long time. I was in Oxford, and so I grew up speaking proper British English. Well, at least I tried. And I studied in London, and I lived in London for a really long time and worked there. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixture of German, British English,
It's
whatever.
right. It's just most German people, when I hear them speak, I mean, yes, it sounds like a German accent to me, but you can tell they learned most of their English from Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you did not. And you've got this weird, well, not weird, I think it's lovely mix of kind of almost a British accent under, well, my mother says it best. You have a lovely German accent with overtones of Britain. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's closer to us, but you're right. But I think like the teachers in school, they teach you in Germany, they teach you American English, because I
Mm,
mean some words are even different, and most of them have studied in America or lived in America, or they are even Americans who teach American English. So
right.
I just did it the other way around. And it's so weird because UK is so close to us. Like literally, it's like a half an hour from, if you live in Hamburg, it's like half an hour to London. So
Hmm. Well, I think you have a lovely accent, and hearing that accent speak the names of ancient places in Arda and the names of elves, it's beautiful. I think I've said as much in my tweet before. And
yeah,
also, I do love the way you can really understand not just the actions of what's happening in the story, but the context you give through having your own takes and having read the story many times and thought about it from
yeah,
lots of different ways. It gives a texture to these, let's face it, sometimes dry stories from the Silmarillion.
yeah, yeah.
It gives a
Yeah,
texture to them that allows me to appreciate them. And I've read the Silmarillion a long time ago,
mm,
but I came away going, that's the King James version of the Dawn of Middle Earth. It was
yeah,
very difficult for me to read. I can
yeah.
only imagine for a non-native English speaker what that was like.
Yeah, well, I think I read it in English and in German, but I always prefer, if you're able to speak that language on a certain level, I would always prefer to go to the original level, because a lot gets lost in translation, actually. Um, and I was lucky, my English is really good, so I can understand the Silmarillion in English. And funny thing, I always say that in my streams, like in the Lord of the Ring books, like the thing with the Witch King of Angmar, and only a man can kill him, that prophecy was translated in the first German version, it was translated wrong.
Hmm.
So for years, people in Germany who read The Lord of the Rings had a wrong translation of that scene,
Hmm.
because mankind and men is a different word. Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you again. I love this stream already.
Right.
For the yeah, I try. like to give things a Helen twist, like make it a bit funny or tell my own personal stuff when talking about, like boring stuff like the creation myth, like if you make a joke or tell or add something fun, I think it makes it, I don't know.
I agree. That's why I have loved the content that you put out so far. And you've really been like putting the time in too. Putting out a long format video once a week is not easy to do.
Nah,
I have 3 people to help me, and I don't have to write a script, and it takes time.
Yeah.
So my hat is off to you, young lady, for getting it done. But
this is why it took me years, like people like Gemma and Kyle and Robert, they made fun of me for 2 years that I'm the person, because I created the channel, I don't know, like 2 years ago. And I always told everybody, I'll have a channel about Tolkien and Star Wars. And everybody was like, yeah, that will never happen. And this is why it took me forever. But I finally did it. Prove them wrong.
Right. Well, never is a long time. So anytime somebody tells you that's never going to happen, they're probably wrong.
Exactly.
I'm going to make my apologies right now to all the people who are listening. Yes, I am sick. Yes, I have a head cold. I've been coughing and sneezing all day, but I've got hot tea. I've got Kleenex over here. I've got a cough drop in my mouth. And we've got such a lovely guest that I'm barely even noticing it. All right. So, Helen, you already said a couple of things that have made my brain spark. You went to boarding school in England, but you're a German citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that happen? Why were you in England during your childhood?
My parents sent me there. I think maybe they didn't want me around them or near them. No, education in our house is really, really important, and they wanted me to speak another language. Actually, English is my 3rd language. French is my 2nd. I grew up near the French border, and I went to like a French kindergarten and everything. So English is my 3rd language, and they wanted me to go to a good school with a proper education, and where where there are not 30 kids in one class, and you get trained on things. If they see you're very talented in art or whatever, you get a certain, or you can focus more on that. And on the normal German schools, I'd like schools everywhere, that's not possible. And so they checked where to go, and so they found that school, and they knew people who went there, or kids from friends who went there, and they recommended it. Funny enough, my school is the school Emilia Clarke went to the same boarding school. I think she's like,
who did?
Emilia Clarke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she went to the same school, because you get like a alumni letters every year, or for Christmas invitations for alumni. And one card said it's a Catholic boarding school, and one card said School of the Mother of Dragons or something like that. It was like a fun invitation for some reunion thing. She's like three years younger than I am. And that was really funny. And so I found out Emilia Clarke went to the same school.
Well, not everybody can say that. I didn't get to go to the same school as Emilia Clarke.
Oh, wow. Well, it would be very weird if you've gone to a girls, Catholic girls' school.
Catholic girls' school when I was 30 years old.
That would be even worse.
Yeah, I retract my previous statement. Oh. So, Helen, then, so I know you as a Lord of the Rings fan, but also as a Star Wars fan.
Yes.
And so what's your first fandom? Which was the one that really made you go, you know what, I'm a nerd, and I'm just going to be a nerd?
Star Wars.
Okay,
If we
fair
talk
enough.
about fandom, yes, because Lord of the Ring is my first love, and actually, The Hobbit is the first English book I ever read, with like I don't know 8 or something. My dad gave it to me, so I always cherish that, and I think if you would force me to say name your top 3 or whatever, Lord of the Rings, but Star Wars is fandom wise because Lord of the Rings never had a real fandom. It's very different. It's very intellectual. They have
Right.
these Tolkien societies
Well,
in
it's
every
literature.
country. Yeah, exactly. So I think that is starting now, and I'm pretty sure because fandoms grow, with visual stuff. And I think when the 3 movies came out, the 3 Lord of the Ring movies, kind of a fandom started, but it wasn't on the level Star Wars,
Right.
or even in Germany was. So I'd say Star Wars. I'm a sucker for Star Wars. I love it till this day. No matter what happens to the cinematic movies, nobody can take Empire. Nobody can take the first time I watched Empire from me.
Oh man, you're speaking my language, my friend.
Yeah.
Empire is not my favorite Star Wars movie. My
Hmm.
favorite movie
Yeah.
is
Same.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. Same. Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we have so much in common. That might explain why my boyfriend is trying to cheat on me so much with you because we're so similar. So my question is, are you trying to steal my man?
It took me a moment. No, obviously, I would never dare to ask him a question about the Mandalorian or anything. I just talked Lord of the Rings, and he gave me a script what to say. No, I'm just kidding. Um, he said it's your fault. He tried with you Lord of the Rings, and you apparently said, I don't know. And you
I think it
snooze,
was
you
more
lose,
like
Stephen.
yeah, there's probably spot for a Lord of the Rings weekend, but like, why not get on with an up and comer like yourself? And because the two of you together are fantastic too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not really sure. I think in the beginning, John was like, "Oh my God, does this girl ever shut the f up?" And he just lets me blabber on, and I think he's now. I think we understand each other's vibe now more. After I think 3, yeah, we did 3 already, and it's fun. And I think John also doesn't have a person to really talk that deep about that stuff, and it's actually like we just talk to each other and just by accident film it. This is
Right.
how I feel about it, and that's really cool.
That's not too dissimilar to what we do here. There's an idea of what I want to talk about, but I have no script in front of me, no bullet points or anything. It's just, oh, what do I know about Helen? Let's talk to Helen.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on Star Wars. I think if I went all the way back, I would be like, I'm wearing Vader today.
Yep.
Star Wars is my first fandom as well. So, what was it about Star Wars that got you? Was it Princess Leia? Was it was it Luke Skywalker, or was it Han Solo, the dashing rogue?
No, who was it? It was the guy on your shirt, obviously. No, it
Oh,
w- although he had one of his best scenes in Rogue One, I
oh
really
yeah,
love.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it was the whole thing because I was a small child when obviously I wasn't born when they came out, but my dad showed me them pretty. I think I was like 7-ish when I first saw them, and I always remember that moment because I obviously didn't get that he is his father, and I remember that scene when he says, "I'm your father." I saw it in German first. Ich bin dein Vater, Luke. And I'll always remember that. And I love a good versus evil story. I'm a very black and white person. I really am. Obviously, I like stuff and enjoy stuff like Martin does with the Song of Ice and Fire, with all the gray and the in-betweens, and asking questions and not just accepting he is good, he is evil, this is how it is. But I'm a very visual person as well, and so seeing that in the mid 80s or late 80s, that was just epic.
Right on. I mean, you're preaching at the choir with Star Wars, like I said. But then you go, I mean, obviously you grew a little older. You discovered The Hobbit, and you discovered The Lord of the Rings, and then eventually The Silmarillion, I'm sure. So what is it about that story that has made you such a diehard fan? Can you
Yeah.
pinpoint, like, is it the themes that he's trying to work with? Is it the world building? Is it the actual narrative of the plot itself? What is it that moved you so much? Do you remember?
Well, it's not the writing, you know. I studied literature, so, and as you always see in my backdrop, I love books. Like, my house is full of books. I'm basically a library,
Okay.
and I do read a lot. And his writing style, Tolkien's writing style, especially in the Silmarillion, is it's not catchy, like you said. You know, it sometimes he drags stuff on, and it's like reading the Bible or Genesis or stuff.
Right.
So I mean, the Lord of the Ring books are a bit different. He is not the best writer I've ever read, but as you said, it's the world, the whole world, that catches me. And I love maps. You know, I'm a traveling gypsy. I've been to many places. I spend all my money I earn on traveling, and I loved what he gave you, and the idea, you know, behind it, that it started with a map, because it kind of did. And there are maps for everything. There, you know, that there are so many detailed maps for places he worked on, or other people he you know, he collaborated with them. Sorry, it's really late. Sometimes my English just goes at that time. So he collaborated with them. So the maps are true to what Tolkien wanted. And I love that, because I just sometimes look at these maps and then I discover places and all that. And this is why I loved what Amazon Prime did. You know, they gave you the maps, and only people who know a bit about Tolkien's world and the world building, and that places had different names before, and then they were renamed because stuff happened, and it was given from the elves to the Rohirrim, and so it changed the name and stuff like that, which is so cool. And they use that, and to let the people who know that it's Second Age, for example.
Right.
So that's really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I've been watching the chat, and I do have to say happy birthday to Santivia Major. Happy birthday.
Yay, girl.
I hope you start aging in reverse.
Yeah, we all do. And happy first. We're never, us girls, 21, not older.
Good enough. I've always been told that if you guess 29, you can't be that wrong.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. 29.
Right. But yeah, so happy birthday, Santivia. It's nice to see you.
And that you celebrate with us. Yay.
Right.
We have Turkas is in the chat, Sunflower Bath, Chrissy, obviously. Chrissy is just the best.
Chrissy's everywhere.
Yeah, she is.
There's a lot of people here to just to learn about you.
That's very nice. I can't believe that anybody, whenever people comment under videos, I'm like,
Yeah, we have this thing where you still feel like you're on the outside looking in, don't you? On some level, as a content creator.
Yeah, and you know, I've been with this fandom now for a while. I think I came through Gemma and Kyle, like they were my first friend. I think Kyle was like my first friend here, and that's like 3 or 3.5 years ago now, that I really got to know Kyle, and then like 2.5 years ago, Gemma, like really well, and I call them my real life friends. Like we talk literally every day, like
Right.
every day on a private, not just about A Song of Ice and Fire.
Right.
And
I think a lot of us have those small circles of people where it's like we
yeah,
talk to these people every day.
yeah,
And yes, we talk about A Song of Ice and Fire, but we talk about literally everything else too.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
we do. And so I've been I've been on some of Kyle's or Gemma's stream about A Song of Ice and Fire. I never know why they invited me, because I haven't read, shame on me, I have to out myself now, I haven't read all the books. But I came for the show to Game of Thrones. I read the books before the show, but I forgot about them because they didn't catch me as much. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I don't like, maybe I can. I don't like the change of POVs.
Oh, okay.
It confuses. I know a lot of people love that because you get a deeper insight and all, and get another side of the story, and you always have to question, but is this really the truth? Because you just see it from this person's POV, right? And I don't know, it confuses me. It's too much going on. I think maybe when all the books are finished, I'll give it another go, because then in my mind it's a finished thing and I can go from A to Z
Oh,
and enjoy it. Um,
man, you realize you just set yourself up, right? You said
why?
when the books are finished.
I believe in that. I'm a positive person.
Well, I am too, but I know some people in the chat are probably not as positive as that is happening.
Oh, well.
One person I know in particular is very cynical about the thought of books ever coming out.
Who's that? Your mom?
No, no, no. It's the man we're fighting over.
Oh, yeah.
John is like convinced it's never happening. I know it.
Oh, John, don't be a negative Nelly. And V is in the chat. Hey, V, telling me to read the books. I will, because I believe he's going to finish it. Or people who are very, very close to him will finish it for him.
Right. I mean, I hope we do, but like it'll happen when it happens. And until then, the story we've gotten has been fantastic. So I'm just going to appreciate what we have.
Exactly. It's better than nothing, right? Just
Right.
imagine if we didn't get any of that. That would make the world, even though I'm again not the biggest fan, but I love the world and I really enjoyed the show. Again, I'm a very, very visual person, and yes, I do read a lot and I enjoy a good book. But I work in marketing for a reason. I love pictures and images. And they don't tell you everything, pictures can still trigger your emotions and your imagination, just like a book. Because a lot of people are, yes, but in a book they don't tell you how Cersei looks exactly, or because you can still, in your imagination, she can look like this or this or this.
Right.
And this is why a lot of people prefer books. I'm not like that, because you see something and it gives you another spark or another idea. And I love visuals. I'm very, very visual person. This is why I love The Mandalorian. I thought visually it was beautiful and amazing.
The Mandalorian.
Hmm.
Sorry, I was typing in chat. But yes, I also loved The Mandalorian, and you're right. It had a very distinct visual style.
Yeah.
That I very much enjoyed watching. And people who are regulars to the channel will know that I pretty much always prefer the audio visual medium for things as well, be it television or movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, I've read A Song of Ice and Fire 4 times, but I've probably seen every episode of the television show more than that.
Yeah.
I've read all of Lord of the Rings once, but I have seen all of those movies multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're going to interrupt the flow of the conversation for just a second because I wanted to let everybody know that yesterday I won a free ticket to Ice and Fire Con.
Yay!
I already had my ticket to Ice and Fire Con, and I got this one hoping that I would be able to talk Nessie, my co-host, into going. Unfortunately, she is not able to go. So, that being said, if somebody out there wants a free ticket to Ice and Fire Con, all you've got to do is contact me. And yes, my Twitter is down in the description. If you're not following me on Twitter, that's an easy way. For those of you that are Instagram users, yeah, I'm on Instagram at Steven Stark 0, like the number 0.
But Stephen, you need a campaign for this. We need to make a marketing campaign out of this. This is too easy. Don't just message Stephen. I don't know, somebody with
No,
the
no, no,
coolest GIF or
no,
with the
no hoops to
coolest.
jump through. I got it for free. So somebody was very generous and offered a free ticket.
Yeah.
History of Westeros gave it away. I won it, hoping to give it to my co-host. She's unable to take it. So it's out there. And if somebody wants it, message me. And now it doesn't come with airfare and it doesn't come with, lodging or any of that. But I think tickets are $120 right now. So it's $120 value for free.
Mm. Where is it?
It's in Ohio, Deer Creek State Park in Ohio, which is near Columbus, Ohio, in the middle of America. I've never been to Ohio, but I will go in April. It's at the end of April. And yeah, tickets yours. Just let me know.
And I think a lot of the community people they're going, I think
that's all that's there. All
yeah.
that's there are community people like Aziz and Ashea and the Girls Gone Canon and Nauticast and I'm going, John's going. Yeah. And it's a very small convention and it's pitched as sleepaway camp for A Song of Ice and Fire nerds. So
yeah, and it's more intimate apparently and stuff like that, right, than the Crown of Thrones, for example.
Right. Yeah, Con of Thrones is huge compared to Ice and Fire Con. Even.
Yeah.
So yeah, that having been said, I just wanted to make sure that that was out there. We've got 31 people watching, so 31 people have an opportunity. Shoot me a message.
Go,
there
people.
You go.
Ohio in April.
Yeah. But okay, so we were talking about you, Helen. So you were born a wee lass in Western Germany. Now, was it West Germany when you were born? I guess it would have to be.
Yeah. It was still East and West. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in that time. I remember the whole wall thing, which is not a place I thought this conversation would go, but okay. But Western Germany, you said near the French border. You spoke French before you spoke English.
Mm-hmm.
Small town?
Yeah, like really. But I was actually not born in Germany. I was born, and I'm not kidding. My parents worked there at that time, or my mother studied there, and my dad worked there.
I think you told me.
Yeah, I was born in Transylvania.
Oh, that is not where I was that's not what I remembered you saying. But that's way cooler.
Yeah, it is. And no, everybody's like, nah, you're kidding. I'm like, no, literally. I played in one of my mom's friends at that time. He owned one of the Dracula castles, where he apparently, but this is just a myth because he just traveled through there and was there like a day, because he's actually from Moldova, and which is near Transylvania, part of Transylvania, but not where they now claim this is the Dracula castle. This is completely just for tourists and made up.
Right.
But he was there, but he was not from there, and it was not his castle or his seat. But yeah, I played there in the dungeons. No, I don't know, not in the dungeons, but I played there as a small kid, and then we moved to Vienna, actually, and then to Germany.
Vienna and then Germany.
Yeah, Vienna, Austria, and then Germany. Yeah.
Right. I've never been to Austria, but as I said, I did spend a couple of years when I was pre-kindergarten.
Mhm.
So, like, I think we came back to the States when I was 4. My father was in the army,
Yeah.
and we lived in Hanau.
Hanau.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, near Frankfurt.
yeah, I guess. Sure,
Hmm.
why not? We
Hmm.
left when I was 4. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when we moved back to the States, playing cops and robbers with the other kids. When we, instead of making a woo woo sound for the police, we went neener, neener, and everybody thought we were crazy. What are you doing? And I'm like, we're playing cops and robbers.
Yeah.
That's what a police car sounds like.
Yeah. That's the German police car. Exactly.
So, but small town in Western Germany near
Hmm.
the French border.
Yeah.
Is that where you lived when you started on Star Wars?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody's playing it back in the other room, and I just heard me making the police car sound.
Yeah. Never listen back. Knut Rock.
Newt Rock.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Look, I
Bee-doo,
yeah.
bee-doo. That's the what are they? The minions.
Beto Beto.
Bee-doo, bee-doo. Um, so from there you moved to Oxford to go to boarding school.
Yes.
At what age were you when you went to live in England?
From 10 to 15.
I cannot imagine moving away from my family at 10 years old.
Yeah. Well, I was my parents always worked a lot, like a lot. And my mom is a professor at uni, and my dad, he had his own company, and they just worked. And so I was, I had like a nanny and stuff like that. So I was alone a lot as well, but not in a bad way. I never felt like nobody's here for me or stuff like
Right.
that. And but you grow up very independent, and I never, well, obviously in the beginning it's a bit hard, but there are lots of other girls who where it's the same, and you can visit your parents and they can visit you, looked and you spend your holidays at home and whatnot. So I really like that, because you um yeah, you get very, very independent at a very, very young age, which
Right
is not
on.
a which is not a bad thing. I I,
No, it's
I
not.
think
You're
it doesn't
an
fit.
independent woman now.
Yeah, I think it doesn't fit for every, if you see your child is not made for that, then obviously I wouldn't send away my child. But I think my parents knew from the beginning, yeah, she'll survive. This was always their mantra, like, yeah, if it doesn't kill her, it's okay.
Well, I'm sure my parents had some of that going on, although I was, this is going to surprise nobody. I was a troublemaker when I was a kid, so they to send me away to boarding school would have, I don't know if it would have been helpful or if I would have just like gotten kicked out in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, especially from a Catholic one, you probably would.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
trust me, the girls there at those schools, they are the worst. It's not like little angels. Definitely not.
Yeah, you had nuns ready to knock you on the knuckles with a
Yeah.
ruler, didn't you?
Yep.
Yep.
Hmm. And like like some of the teachers, like piano teachers and whatnot, they had those little wooden sticks, and then chuck.
Wow. See, we didn't, America doesn't have that. The things we learn. You are the most international guest I've had on, too, at least for an I Know That Nerd. I've had other Europeans on as guests
Hmm.
for a different topic, but like I think you're the first I Know That Nerd guest that is European. So we're
Yeah.
learning so much.
Yeah, full over the place. But I know a lot of Europeans who have, like, everybody does this heritage thing now, and especially the continental Europeans. I'm not talking about the British ones, because I mean they were an island and they didn't get around that much. But Central Europeans, especially continental Europeans, there were so many times where, due to hunger, or some king invited people, hey, I have a big mass of land, come here, the land is free, come and live here, like people from early, I don't know, third 400 or whatever,
Right.
like thousands of years ago, they always like migrated, and that's really cool about Central European. So actually we all have, if you're like from Germany or France or wherever, you have everything in you, like literally you're a bit Spanish, you're a bit Greek, you're a bit French, you're a bit German, and that's so cool about that.
Right on. So you think you're a bit of all those things?
Yeah,
And you,
I did that. I did the DNA thingy, so I'm yeah, I'm mainly East European, Jewish, and German. Yeah, but also, it was also, it was the Austrian Empire. It had
right,
lots of, like, Hungary and parts of Romania, Transylvania, where I was born, that all belonged to the big Austrian Empire. That's no longer, but that was then Austria, aka they spoke German.
right. That's cool. I have
Hmm.
not done the DNA thing myself, but my mother has, and my oldest daughter has. So between the two of them, I can look and go, I think I know what I am. And you know what I
Yeah,
am? I'm a basic white dude from England, mostly
yeah,
from, like, I think 80% of my daughter's DNA was from England and Scotland and, the British Isles.
yeah.
And my mother was like 78%. So,
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
so I'm, basic white guy. You've got it all though, because but that's Central Europe versus,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Central Europe, like, and in the end, we're all related. The Central Europeans, we are all from the Emperor Charlemagne. I don't know how you Carl the. I don't even know the English name for
In
that.
English, we say Charlemagne.
Okay, Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Right. Of course it is. But like the English version is Charlemagne.
Yeah, yeah. So in the end, we're like literally all related to that guy.
Karl de Grosse.
Yeah, Karl der Große, exactly.
Okay, Grosse. I was close. It was close.
Yeah,
I don't really speak German, but like I know a few words in like a million different languages, but I don't
yeah.
speak anything other than, okay, you got 3 languages. I think I have 4. English, American, Texas, and I speak a little Spanish, so we'll go 3.5.
Yeah, I speak Spanish. I studied in Spain. One more, you can add one more thing to my list. I studied in Spain for a year. So
So she's like, I've got 3. I'm like, I've got 3.5. Well, actually, I've got 4. Way to plus one me, Helen. Way to plus one me.
yeah, find it.
I don't know. That made me laugh. So, after boarding school, I assume was college,
Hmm.
and you work in marketing. So, did you study marketing?
No, I studied. I have 2 degrees. I studied literature.
Literature. You
Yeah.
said earlier.
Where?
You said earlier that you studied literature.
Yeah, I studied literature. Yes, I studied that in Munich, in Germany, and then I also studied politics, and that I
Mm,
studied, yeah, European politics, and I studied that partly in London, in England, at the LSE, and finished it did my undergrad there, and finished it in Germany as well, and Spain. I studied 1 year in Spain. Política europea.
very cool.
Yo olvido todo, porque yo hay nadie para hablar y practicar.
Yeah. Se necesitan más oportunidades a
Sí,
practicar.
sí.
Because living
There's
in
no,
Texas, Spanish is just spoken here, so I have the
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
fairly frequently to at least stay in practice.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody here speaks Spanish, so
Right. Well, why would they, to be honest with you?
yep. We're glad we speak a bit of English. But it changed a lot. Like many people speak English now.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm finding is that Germany especially there's a lot of English speakers there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of German YouTubers who come on and just start talking in, accented, but with the right, obviously you understand the grammar very well of English. German grammar confuses me, the way you take words and stick them together to make these big giant words.
Yeah. Donaudampfer-Schifffahrtskapitän.
There you go. That's one word, I'm sure.
That's one word, but it's actually 5.
Right,
Like,
5 words
just
crammed together.
Yeah.
So
Beauty of
why do you
language.
guys do that?
Because we can.
Give
No,
it the time. Break your words apart.
yeah, no, we're just weird. No, I think you prefer because our sentences are really long. German is one of the richest languages, so you have basically a word for everything, and
You're right. German. Some of my favorite words in the whole world are German.
yeah, say what?
Okay, Gestalt.
What?
Gestalt.
Gestalt?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Schadenfreude. That's a great
Schadenfreude.
word.
Wow, yeah. Because that doesn't exist in English. You have
No,
to
it
like
doesn't.
explain it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
For those of you,
Zeitgeist.
what? Zeitgeist? Yes.
Mhm.
Another great word. Zeitgeist. I use it when I think I may have even used it when we were talking about Picard a week or two ago, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Schadenfreude is like taking delight in someone else's unfortunate happening, like taking pleasure in someone else's pain.
In misfortunes. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. And obviously we have a word for that because we are so evil.
Well, I'm just going to chalk it up to you have a word for everything.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, and then our sentences are really, really long because sometimes you also describe a lot, and you don't want that many words, and it looks easier if you can put together, and the grammar does allow it, because in some languages grammar doesn't allow you to put words together, right? And so they form a new word, but it's easy in German. So yeah. And yes, Lady Leaf Underhill, German is very, very specific. Yeah, it's true.
It's true. You heard it from the expert.
Yeah. And it's very interesting. Our languages are very, very close related. We have the same roots.
Yeah, English and German.
Yes, same roots. And the German we speak today is actually so Martin Luther, right? Martin Luther, and he was from a certain area in Germany,
Right.
And before before Gutenberg, who invented the print, the book print, basically printing letters, and before most people couldn't read, so the German that we speak today is actually because those were the first written, printed, and then read out loud books and stories. The Bible mostly, because that was one of the first books, and so the language of Martin Luther is the language, the German we speak today. Before there were, and there still are, various dialects, but the High German, like like Oxford English is, or I don't know in America, because there is no High American English, right? That doesn't exist, that concept, does it?
I would say that that it does exist, but it's going to be like what academics are going to use.
Yeah.
We call them, people who are very worried about their grammar will do it, a certain way. There is a standard American accent, which is sort of based off of the Midwestern American accent. I have a Southern American accent, not a heavy one, but the Midwestern one is kind of the common one because that's what the news people, when the news started to be broadcast, that was the accent they were using. It's the same way for the RP accent in England. That's considered the posh, upscale accent because that's what the newscasters used. And it's exactly like you're saying. It's a similar thing with German.
Yeah. And but here is like, in some regions, like in East Germany, they speak a very thick accent, and it's not. And we have a High German, like High Valyrian, the High German, and that's like the proper what you say, like the newscasters, and like then that this person is either educated or comes from a certain area. Yeah, John Webster. I'm wearing a He-Man shirt. I'm an 80s child. So what I wanted to say, that our languages and what you spoke, there's a line in Germany, it goes through the middle of Germany basically, and everything north of that line is actually closer related. The original language they spoke there is closer related to English than to the German we speak today, and that line was called Benrather Linie, one of the towns on that line. And it's so cool because if you go to Hamburg or to northern cities, their dialect, you think it's a drunk person speaking English. It's really, really cool, because they have many words that are not German, but they're closer related to English.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've heard it said, Dutch is very closely related to German.
Yes, it is
And
as well.
I've heard it said that for English speakers, Dutch is the easiest language to learn.
Yeah.
Because a little history lesson for those of you that didn't know, there's a place it's directly north of modern day Germany. It is on the Jutland Peninsula, but it's the southern portion of the Jutland Peninsula. There used to be a group of people that lived there called the Angles, and they were fisher people. And that's where the modern American or the modern English word an angler is a fisherman.
Yes. And Angler means fisherman in German.
Right. But those people then moved to a new island, and it was the land of the Angles, which became Angleland, which is England. And that they spoke Anglish, which is
English,
but it was very closely related to whatever Germany was speaking at that time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's changed.
Everything north of that line. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And then the Saxons came.
And then the Saxons came. And then the Jutes. Utes.
Yeah. And then the Romans came. So everything is a mix. Yeah. Yeah, no. History is a good thing. No, but so this is why I personally think that it's really, really easy to learn German for if you speak English, and the other way around as well. And English is one of the languages you're not afraid. I'm like, my grammar is definitely not perfect and I make mistakes, but you're not afraid to speak English because you're always surrounded by English shows, English people. You hear it, but like French especially, like, you're a bit afraid of speaking French because, first of all, they're super judgmental.
Yeah, well, they do have that reputation.
Yeah, well, I grew up near the border. They are like that. And they even pretend they don't speak English, although they do. So you're a bit afraid of, like, speaking French if you're not proper and really, really good at it. So it's easier to just speak English.
Right. Well, let's be honest. English is the international language.
Yes.
Yes, Spanish is spoken in a lot of places as well. But if you are flying internationally and you leave Germany and you fly from Germany to Cairo, the German pilot is talking to the Egyptian air traffic controller in English. All that conversation, all air traffic conversation is in English.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find English speakers anywhere you go.
Yeah, and it got more common that I mean the obviously education in school changed, and languages is a big, because trade is so important. We are a big trade nation. We create a lot of things we want to sell somewhere, so obviously you need to speak that language. And it got more and more important even in schools to speak English. To You learn it here from age 7 or 8. You speak the first foreign language. You need to learn two extra languages,
Man,
and everybody takes English as a first, except me, who took French.
because you're a rebel like that.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. French is a beautiful language.
When it's spoken by somebody who knows how to speak it, yes, I agree. It's very
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
Well, Helen, we've been going about an hour, so we're gonna take our mid-roll break here, and I'm gonna do some shout outs and talk about what's coming up, and we'll get back to it. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a couple of things I need to talk about. First of all, I'm not sure who was here, who was not before, but yes, I am giving away that ticket. The person that I tried to give it to was not able to accept it. So please, if you want to go to Ice and Fire Con, just contact me. I've tried to give it to about 3 or 4 different people now, and if I can't find somebody within the next day or two, I'm going to go back to Aziz and say I'm sorry, but like the person that I got it for can't keep it, and maybe he'll have a second place. So here is your chance to get a free ticket to Ice and Fire Con. And all you got to do is shoot me a message. Again, my Twitter is down in the description. So it's super easy. If you don't have Twitter, my Instagram is Steven Stark 0. That the number is 0. Okay, yeah. Also, got to make sure I say thank you to Ridiculous Ed Tollett, #1 patron in the land. You know I love you, buddy. I know you're probably getting off work right about now. So, yeah. Hope you get to make it in before the end. Also, I'm giving away this book today. This
Ooh.
book by Kim Renfro, The Unofficial Guide to Game of Thrones. But only patrons were eligible to win, and this month's winner is, drumroll please, Lady Shar. Lady Shar, who I also had the extreme pleasure of sharing a meal with earlier this week. I traveled for work, and I was not too far from where she lives, so we went to dinner. I met her husband. He was a really awesome guy. I had a really fantastic burger at that place, so I really enjoyed it. But and there's Ed. Yeah, love you too, buddy. But yeah, Shar, congratulations. I don't see you in the chat right now, but I'll contact you later and send you that book. Coming up next week, John and I get to sit down and talk in depth about something we've loved for years with Nessie, who has just now in her life gotten around to watching Firefly and Serenity.
Ooh.
So I'm super hyped to be talking about that franchise. I love everything Joss Whedon does, really, but Firefly has a special place in my heart. My daughter and I bonded over Firefly. Yeah, it's fantastic. I see you've got Kitty on, so everything. Hold on, let me. We're going to make it where we can see Kitty better. Everything I bring up from now on is nothing is as important as Kat. I've live streamed long enough to know this.
Yeah, she always wants to come. She comes on every stream. I don't know.
But yeah, so that's what we're doing next week. The week after that is John and I will be doing a retro movie review. We haven't picked the movie yet, but you know what? This is as good a time as any. Chat, folks, what retro movie should John and I review? So some of the ideas that I had were like the Batman movie from 1989, the the original with Michael Keaton in it.
Michael Keaton, yeah.
Right. There's a movie called Willow that I have loved my entire life. Ron Howard film, fantasy movie. And we also thought of what was the other one? I can't think of it right now. But anyway,
He-Man. The one with
no. I want to review a movie that I really, really liked from the past.
Oh my god, that movie was so good and so bad.
It was terrible.
It had nothing to do with He-Man as well.
No,
like
other
the
than just having
storyline
the
was
names of those characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys drop some suggestions in the chat over what you think. Oh, Galaxy Quest. That was the other one. Thank you, John. That was the third one that I thought that would be a really good one too. So give me some of your ideas in the chat, and we'll throw a poll up on Twitter later. Okay, so Helen, we're back. We're back from the mid-roll.
Steven.
Okay, now
John loves the Masters of the Universe.
Yeah,
let's do it.
John loves everything always. That's why I love that about you, buddy. You're so positive all the time. Das Boot. Come on, Klonitsky. That movie is like 4.5 hours long, and it's claustrophobic, and
it is. Oh my god, it's so good. And you think that they made it, and then they didn't. It's so good. It's really good. The music. Oh my god, yeah.
It's a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but gosh, it's hard to watch.
It is, yeah.
It's so tense. I see a vote for Starship Troopers. I see a vote for Labyrinth. I see a vote for Lady Hawk.
Oh, Labyrinth.
Labyrinth is a great one. Yeah. Although, I'm not sure if it's going to hold up now that I'm an adult, But anyway, thanks for the suggestion, y'all. And feel free to at me on Twitter to leave those suggestions there, too, if you want. If you want to make sure that I see your suggestion. Oh, it looks like Voice of Reason just followed me on Twitter. I'm just going to follow you back real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so Helen, at what point did you go from... Okay, so you said you were a little girl when you read The Hobbit. Is that right?
Yes.
At what point did you go from I like this to I love this to... This is going to consume my life, and I have to start talking about this?
Well, to start talking about this was literally recently, because I always tell the story that I love my friends, I love them dearly, but my friends are not nerdy or geeky at all. I do, except my dad. My dad got me into all of this. If you people think you're geeks, you're nothing against my dad. My dad reads like the Iliad for fun every time around Christmas. That's actually where I got my name from. My name is from Helen of Troy.
Oh, well, that's very nice of your father to name you that.
Yeah. Yeah, he loves the Iliad and all of Homer, and he's a real geek, and I think he probably read like the Lord of the Rings, I don't know, 29 times or something like that, and all the fantasy books. He's big into fantasy, and so he was the only person I could talk to, because all of my other friends, they are not interested. I mean, they obviously, they like Star Wars and that, but they would never sit down with me and talk about theories or, analyze the movie we just saw and stuff like that. That really just happened online.
Right.
When I met this community, because before I didn't have that. I just, it was all in my head. Sounds bad, but yeah. And
I think you're describing actually a pretty common set of circumstances for a lot of us, which is why we find ourselves coming to this type of space to make our friends,
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I have, flesh and blood, can see them in person friends, a few, But the people I'm closest to, well, I met them through our shared fandom, but then, time you can bond with people over other subjects, and you go through a crappy day and somebody's there for you to be really super awesome, and that's how you build your friendships. But like my friendships are built, as you say, through the online space, because my friends don't want to nerd out about this stuff either.
Mm.
They'll watch Game of Thrones and be like, oh, it was awesome, and man, she's hot. But I'm like, yeah, but what about,
Yeah.
what do you think about the politics or the philosophy that he's engaging with? And they're like, I don't know, I like
Yeah.
boobs.
Exactly, yeah. Or when I saw the Lord of the Ring movies from the beginning, because I read the books before, and from the beginning I wanted to, like to tell people, oh, and this is because blah blah blah, and this is because he is the forefather of Baron blah blah blah, and my friends just looked at me and shut the f up. I want to enjoy
Yeah.
this movie, and this is same like your story.
Right. But thank God we have the internet.
Yes. Yeah, it's not just dark and full of terrors. It can be nice as well.
It can. It's got its terror side, but yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, Helen, when did we first meet? You and I in real? Because when did we meet in real life? Was it in Dallas?
No, no, last con was my first con.
Okay.
I thought about going to Dallas, but I do not remember. I think I was on holiday or something. I already booked a holiday. So we met last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I
and
knew of you before that.
yeah, because I was on, like I said, I was on
Yeah,
many
you're one of
streams
those
of Gemma and Kyle, and was friends
J.R.R.
with JR
Right.
and Robert. Yeah, exactly. So I was on their streams before, and I think this is how people knew me. And again, I don't know how I got invited to these kind of streams, because I'm not big into the Song of Ice and Fire lore or anything like that. I was just more there for fun and entertainment, apparently. Um,
You're fun to talk to. You're an intelligent lady, so you obviously would have some insightful things to say, even if you're not deep into the lore. Like I think I could probably come on a Tolkien stream with you, and you could just be like, "Look, we're just going to talk about the first movie," and of course you're going to know it way better than me. But I bet I've got something. I bet I've got
no,
something, and
of
I'm
course.
sure it was the same with you. When you have somebody who's smart and engaging and friendly, that's a good guest, even if they're
Yeah.
not an expert on the subject.
No, no, and you know what? I think I said that in one of our last streams. I think with John and I. The thing is, I do not like, what I don't like is judgmental people who think they know it all, because they are not the author, right? And literature is art. It's a form of art. It's written art. It's not a painting, but it's art as well for me. And you can stand in front of a painting and see, and there are like three dots on a backdrop, right? And it's art. And I see something completely different than you see, because we are from different worlds. Basically, we have different experiences, we know different things, and so I see something different, or interpret something different. And this is the same goes for books, and for a Song of Ice and Fire books. And I don't have to read it 500 times to form my opinion. I can, like, this is my truth. I'm happy with my truth. I'm happy to you, that you talk to me and explain me yours, and we get into a dialogue or maybe a fight or whatever. And but that's the beauty of it. And you don't have to be, because who are you? You're not the author himself. So even if you don't know everything, and you maybe just saw the movies, or the series, it's fine. It's still okay to talk about that, because I see
Right,
that hate a lot of times in this fandom. Like, people say, what do you know? You just watched the show or something like
right.
that.
I
Why? I
mean,
mean, I can talk about stuff I love, even if maybe you've read it 10 times more, but I still, it's my right to love it and talk about it and ask questions.
right. I I couldn't agree more. Um, You know what though? I do want to open it up. I've got some more questions for you, but we've covered some ground at this point, and I wanted to open it up to the chat. Hey, chat, do you have questions for Helen? Nice questions for Helen. You know, treat the guests with respect. You guys know the deal, but yeah,
Yeah, wait, John, I didn't, John says, I didn't know last year was your first year. Yeah, this is, yeah, exactly, Stephen. So we met last year, and I think I came because I know Aziz quite well, and I
yeah.
think you were standing there with Aziz, and I just came over. Sorry, just another cat is doing something, destroying my house. Yeah, and I just came over and I was like, "Oh, hi, Yossi," because I knew you as well. And I think you were like, "Oh my God, lady, don't come too close," because I'm a very, like
Right.
I'm, I'm like, "Hey,
I am
I'm
not a
Helen."
huggy person. You know, again, social anxiety disorder. I am not a huggy person, but like
Yeah,
at the con, you have to just kind of like, it's fine. It's fine.
yeah, yeah. No,
And
and and you came to our parties at
yeah,
our house. Yeah, that was cool. And you
that
danced with Amanda, who I love. Amanda is awesome. She's my community girl crush. That girl is just
okay.
awesome.
You could do a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
she's I think we've got a spot on each other's dance cards for the end of time now.
yes. And yeah, you danced with Amanda, and that's how we met last year. And we're going to meet again this year, 100%.
Because you are going to Con of Thrones this year.
Yes, we are.
Are you doing panels again?
Yes, I
I
think
already know that
Carol,
because
yeah.
we're supposed to be doing one together.
Yes, hopefully, if we can manage, like the three of us, JR, you and I, can find a time to talk and find a topic, but we will manage. Is there like a time frame you have to send in your suggestion?
It's sometime in mid-April,
Ah, okay, good.
maybe
We will.
maybe even late April, but it's not really close yet.
Yeah, okay. We will manage that. I'm looking forward to that. Yay. Yeah, and then I do a Lord of the Ring one as well. I think Carol is taking care of that again, and me and Robert, we just sit there, and I said to John that I'll drag him to that panel. He has to come as well.
Right on. So there it is, John. You've been officially dragged along. Kolnitsky has a good question. What do you think about the long geographic passages in Lord of the Rings?
So you mean if I like, if you have, I said, I love the maps. So for me, this is yeah, it's like map porn. I love it. I know that people are, they don't want to know, everything, or they don't want a description of a hobbit hole on over 10 pages. I get that. But then you must think, why, because he wants to flesh out this world, because you need to know a lot about the world to understand why certain things happen, because everything has a history there. And it's like a circle, things repeat very often, and this is why he explains a lot. Yeah, so I'm okay with that. I get that people are like, "Oh God, yeah, stop it now."
Right on. Okay, well, Voice of Reason also has a good question. What are you reading at the moment outside of Tolkien stuff for your channel?
So at the moment, I love basketball, and I'm reading the Dirk Nowitzki. I do not know where it is. It's a big ass book. I'm reading the Dirk Nowitzki biography, because it's really, really cool if you learn about. I think Dirk Nowitzki, Dallas Mavericks, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
German, very tall German basketball player.
exactly, and
Oh, yeah, I live in Dallas. I know who Dirk Nowitzki is.
yeah. And yeah, so not everybody is into
Right.
basketball, but yeah, obviously a lot of people know him, and it's so cool because his trainer, like a really weird geeky German guy, who always trained him and who came with him to America. He There's mathematics behind how he trained him. It's a bit like, do you have you seen Moneyball, the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit obviously because that was more about a system, but it's a bit like that. And the book is really good, and interesting and fun. They tell how he got trained as a little kid in Germany and then go to America and all that. It's a good book. I enjoy stuff like that as well. But I like crime, so I literally read everything. I like biographies, political books. I read a lot. Everything that's out there. But I must say, I give a book 30 or 35 pages, and if I don't like it, I put it away. That's
Okay.
my that's
That's
my
fair.
rule.
You gave it a try.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like the 3 episode test with television. You're supposed to give it
exactly,
3 episodes. I don't always
exactly.
make it that far. Real talk. I don't always make it 3 episodes.
No, yeah,
Like I
and
watched the show the other day, made it 1 episode in, and I was like, "It's not for me."
yeah.
And John loves to talk about. Yeah, so I watched. What was that show? Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Oh, yeah.
I made it 10 minutes into the first episode, and I'm just like, nope.
But you know what? Shame on me. Same for me happened. I saw the first episode of here ah what's the name? The show you guys all talk about, the science fiction fantasy show,
Oh, The Expanse.
The Expanse. Yeah, I saw the first and I was like, nah, this is not for
Eh,
me. And everybody's like, yeah, you have to keep going
it,
till the fourth or something. And I'm like, why? It should catch me from like minute 10.
yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm always going to be like, you should go back to The Expanse. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
But I'm also, whenever I try to sell The Expanse to someone, I do tell them it's a slow burn at first because there's a lot of world building going on in a very subtle way, because the characters are just kind of living in that world. So you're getting to see how it's different from the world we live in today.
Yeah.
But it does take till about episode 4 for things to really get rolling.
Yeah, again, I might give it a chance, but then I might binge it. So, what season is it on now?
4,
Like four. Hmm. And did they confirm there will be a fifth?
yes, the 5th has already been shot, even.
Oh yeah, didn't Amazon buy it or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there's money behind it now. Yeah,
Yeah, and
okay.
in theory, there's going to be 9 seasons.
Oh wow. Okay, then I have
There-
to wait a few more years to binge it.
Well, we'll just be enjoying the conversation without you then.
Yeah, well, you can't be in every conversation.
You can't. You really can't.
You have to pick your battles, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about pitching a Song of Ice and Fire Expanse Parallels panel for the Con of Thrones.
Yeah, do it.
Well, I gotta find people who would. I'm already gonna be on okay. If I am on every panel that I'm supposed to be on, that's like 9,
Oh
and so
God, you're pulling in Aziz, who's
yeah,
on like every panel that's there simultaneously.
that's what they're telling me. So I would love to, but we'll see, we'll see. Tokus has a good question. Have you checked out the latest hardcover releases of Baron and Luthien or Fall of Gondolin?
Yes, I have them here.
Okay, well there you go. She's more than checked them out. She owns them.
Yes, of course. And I love, so this is like super nerdy right now, but I love Folio Society. Have you ever heard of them?
The what?
Folio Society?
No, sorry.
Okay, so it's a very elite British publishing house, and they do limited editions of books, like very, very famous books, and they always have special paintings in there, and it's limited and it's beautiful. Like the quality of the books is amazing, and they're redoing the three great tales as well, because I treated like but one book sometimes is like 200 euros, like $250 or something like that.
Mm.
And I treated myself with the three Lord of the Ring books, and I think if you like those, whose question was that? I can't scroll back.
Oh, I got you.
Uh, Ku- uh Kuln,
Kulnitsky or Tolkus. It was Tolkus. Tolkus
yeah,
420.
yeah, Tulkas. Yeah, so the three great tales will be there as well. Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, And John Webster says, I'm reading the Fall of Gondolin book right now for our conversation next Wednesday. Yeah, John complained. He says, you make him watch all those movies and series, and I make him read all those books. And the poor guy doesn't have time for anything else. We occupied him, Occupy Wall Street,
Tell me no.
Occupy Webster.
Yeah, just hey, tell me no. Next time I'm like, we should watch this. Just look me in the eye and be like, "F you, man. I'm not doing it."
Nah, he enjoys it. He loves it.
I know he does, and the moment he looks me in the day he looks me in the eye and tells me to F myself, first of all, you're going to get a clap from me, buddy. I don't know when that day will be, but I will slow clap in appreciation. So, do you have a favorite NBA team? Bernie wants to know.
A favorite? Ooh, a favorite what?
Okay, NBA is the National Basketball Association.
NBA. Oh, sorry, I didn't. I couldn't read it. Nah, not really. I mean, I saw, I saw Lakers a few times. I've been in LA a few times. Um, I even saw Lakers Clippers when that Clipper dude took over the new boss. Yeah, no, not really. I'm not that invested. I just liked it because I liked Dirk Nowitzki.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm sure that's why you were talking about reading a basketball player's biography or a trainer's
Yeah,
biography.
it was more about that, about the concept behind it, because you normally think, the guys just go to the gym and that's it. But there's actually more behind it than just, lifting weights and running.
Right on. So when you studied literature, what was that because you were already so in love with Tolkien's works, or you were already such an avid reader? Is that why you decided you wanted to study?
Yeah, I was a very bookish child. I mean, I played in the dirt and did sports and everything, but I was a very bookish child, and I just wanted to know more about how a language got, because literature is not just reading books; it's learning about your language. I studied German literature, so this is why I knew the stuff from before, that our languages are related and blah blah blah, and yeah, so I love that aspect because I loved reading and I wanted to know, how did that all come, what were the first books, what is the typical German book and typical German form of writing and stuff like that. That was super interesting. It's not just reading and analyzing, but you know what I learned there, and that's so fascinating, and I really think it's true, especially for our fandoms, because very often we over analyze stuff. Like, okay, he says door, what does door mean? Is there a theory
Right.
behind it? No,
Is he,
sometimes.
does he really mean door, or does he mean not door because he's lying to me?
Exactly. And sometimes he just wants to write door because
Right.
they door to enter, like when you study literature, you learn that because they try to analyze everything. And if you've ever written a book, so you know I mean, I haven't written a literature book. I've written two political books for my professor, with my professor, but I was the one writing it, and he just put his name in there on there. So it's very very different to write a political book. It was about German border policies to Eastern Europe, and yeah. So if you write a
Sounds like a
book,
real page turner.
huh?
I said it sounds like a real page turner.
Yeah, like no.
Ger- Ger- German border policies in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, it's
Can't wait to get that one. The sequel is going to be awesome.
the sequel will not happen because people fall asleep. Now, this is just university
Right. I
lecture
get it. I
stuff.
get it. But
And yeah, and the thing is, you're you sometimes you just write for the purpose of telling the things, and you there's not a second or third or fifth meaning and layer to everything. And sometimes, in these communities, it's like, yeah, no, just enjoy it. for what it is sometimes.
Right.
Don't overanalyze it.
What the heck did you just say, Bernie?
What did she say?
Deutsche Fußball
Fußballnationalmannschaft. Yeah, Bernie.
Fußballnationalmannschaft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that means a
okay.
German soccer team or football.
German Fußballnationalmannschaft. Okay.
Yeah. You sound like a French person speaking German.
Well, sorry.
No.
I can speak a little French too. I
Yeah.
surrender. Oh God.
Alors, parle en français avec moi.
No, I surrender.
No, so Kulnitsky, I hope I pronounced that right. He asked, "Do you like football, soccer?" Yes, big time. And V in the chat, Violent Messiah, he knows because we had lots of fights over Germany versus England. And
Right.
he knows we're the better team. I mean, come on, V. Yeah, no, I love football. I love football on a national level. I enjoy that. When the World Cup was here in Germany, that changed a
Mm-hmm.
lot for Germany. Like people were proud again. They were lifting the German flags, which before was like unimaginable, or you are a Nazi if you did that. So being proud of your country really changed with that in 2006. Yeah,
Well,
and
I
the
get, I
World
get
Cup.
it too. And to beat Brazil in Brazil, that's a pretty big deal.
Oh my God, that was the best game ever. Like literally, I had a chat and everybody was like, "Am I dreaming? Is this real? This cannot be real." And then another goal, and then another goal. Yeah. And yes, Knut, Bayern Munich, exactly. Yeah, I lived in Munich most of my life, so yeah, I'm a big Bayern Munich fan. Go to games, wear my sweaters, and yeah, love it.
Well, Kate's saying Koninklijke Nederlandse Waterballbond for the win. Okay. Hashtag orange.
Yeah,
It's obviously
Oranje. So she's Dutch.
yeah, it's the Netherlands team.
Yeah, we beat them as well, many times. Yeah, when it comes to football, I'm very German. And V
I love
says,
that. Yeah, we beat them too.
yeah, and V says, "Hell no, woman. They couldn't even beat Mexico last World Cup. I mean, you have to see the big picture here, V. It's not just now."
I'm sorry. It made me laugh. So Helen, let me ask you this. At some point you decided I have to make videos. I have stuff I need to say and I need to get it out there. And I can tell that that's what's motivating you too, because your videos are not just the facts of the story. It's the facts, and you're trying to do an interpretation of what that's saying.
Mhm.
So, at what point did you just decide? Okay, what's the thing that made you go, I have to make a video about this? Do you remember the first thing that made you
Mm,
go,
mhm.
I have to make a YouTube channel so that I can make this video?
Mm, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, there are good Lord of the Ring YouTubers out there. Most of
Mm-hmm.
them, for some reason, mainly due, like if you have like Men of the West is, for
Right.
example, an amazing one, and he just does Lord of the Rings. And I mean, Robert, he now started with Lord of the Ring as well, and he's super knowledgeable, but he does other stuff on the side as well. But if
Right.
you watch like the only Lord of the Ring guys, they're also very deep into the lore and everything, and they go mainly for characters and stuff like that. And what I always loved is the timeline and
Okay.
and the maps, because so many things happen. And I think this was my first video, the of the first age, because that's my favorite age, because this is high fantasy. Like if you love high fantasy stuff,
Mm.
the first age is the place to go. You have the dragons, you have a lot of stuff happening there, and it's very Game of Thrones-ish as well. And with, it's more gray than just black and white like Lord of the Ring is. Like the elves, they have another layer to them. They're evil elves, and it's not like, it's not black and white like Lord of the Ring. It's just saying that. And I wanted to explain to people, because most people don't know it, and a lot of YouTubers don't cover that. Most of them literally cover the known stuff, like the movies and the Lord of the Ring books. So
Third
I
age,
want
third age stuff. Yeah.
Third age, exactly. So I wanted to do, because not because of the show, I don't want to jump on the bandwagon. There will be a big show and my channel will explode or might explode. I really just wanted to tell people there's more out there, and what you will learn in this series is all has a history, and everything from the movies has a history. So I really wanted to focus on because I love timelines, and I make lots of little slides. Some of the slides you see, I made them. It's like a
Hmm.
PowerPoint slide. And I love explaining what happened when, because it helps you to understand what happens in the time you already know.
Right. Much like, I mean, my deep fandom has been A Song of Ice and Fire, and has been for basically since I discovered it. But that's why you read books like this one, because stuff that happens in here informs the stuff that happens in the main series. And Tolkien, at least as far as in my estimation, did it as well as anybody ever did. The idea of like breaking down the timeline, especially the ancient timeline, that's what really made you go, I need to do this, because nobody else has done it as far as I know.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, there are similar videos out there, but not in my style, because I think a lot of the times people just explain things, and I try to bring in my own knowledge of other books I've read, or I'm big into fairy tales. I grew up with my mum reading every night Grimm's fairy tales. This is a very German heritage thing. Like every little child in Germany grows up with their parents reading the Grimm fairy tales to them, because that's our heritage. Like a lot of our story, these are true stories they collected, right? These are our myth and legends, and they just collected it and wrote it down. And I like to compare what Tolkien wrote to stuff I know, and then make conclusions. And and I think I haven't found, maybe there is a channel out there that does it similarly, but I haven't. And
Yeah.
it's very niche, I know that. I mean, I would probably get more clicks on making a video who is Galadriel, because people want to know, but I choose not to.
See, my mother is bringing up. You brought up the Grimm brothers. We lived in Hanau when I was a child.
Yeah,
Hanau is
they
the
are. Yeah,
hometown of the Grimm brothers,
I know.
and I seem to remember there's a statue of the two of them.
Yeah.
And then the legend is like on New Year's Day they switch places.
Oh, I didn't know that. Look. Okay.
Bam, German.
Bam. You beat the German. Yeah, but it's, yeah, little things like that. It's Grimm fairy tales are amazing.
Yeah, I think a lot of American kids get those same fairy tales just because they're so good, you know. Um,
Yeah,
they're
but the Disney versions are not the
not,
original ones,
and
because
not even the Disney version. I mean, we grew up with we had a book of Grimm fairy tales,
good. Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
Kolnitzky says Grimm fairy tales are very grim. You're not wrong. Some of them
you
are very dark.
and bloody, and like the princess, she chucks off her toes and stuff like that, and then she bleeds because, yeah, her toes are gone. And it's definitely, if you think Disney is the interpretation of the real fairy tales, no, it's not.
No, that's the polished. They wiped away all the dirt and all the blood, and they only took the pretty parts.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think Dan is asking, do you have a pet theory about Tolkien, which is a favorite piece of tinfoil? What is a pet theory? Like my favorite theory?
Yeah,
Or
a pet theory. I mean, colloquially, for I'm sorry. I guess it just means one that you kind of like, even though you maybe know it's not good.
mm.
Or not that it's not good, but like it's probably not true, but I love it anyway.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
see that comment, but all right, all right, put it
Huh?
on. I don't see the comment you're talking about. All right,
It's
put it on the
just
screen.
about between your mom and Kunitsky. Grim fairy tales are very grim. Just below that.
Okay, well, all I see is that one. Anyway, but
Yeah. um.
oh, there it
So
is. I'm sorry, I misheard the name. Voice of Reason. There we go.
yeah.
So, do you have a favorite pet theory about Tolkien?
Yeah. So, oh God, I can't. God. So there is one that Tolkien wanted to create a mythology for England, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so but this is not proven. And but people think, and I think he wrote that in one letter. Don't like I might be wrong if it was a letter or he said it to somebody, whatever it was. But he said, and this is somehow he portrays Aragon as well. And I think if you have some of the names, Aragon has like 100 names, and one of the names is very similar to his. Oh God, I forgot about it. I read about it 100 years ago, but that he is a descendant of Aragon. So that would, because the theory is that our world today is a later version of the real Middle Earth, right? So Middle Earth existed thousands and thousands of years ago, and then our world came to be. And Tolkien is a descendant, and this is why he tells the story of that line of Elendil and Isildur. He's yeah, so a descendant of Aragon, therefore. And I love that theory, and I once had it, and then it never left me. And it's probably not true, but I think they proved it. Somebody who speaks, all the Sindarin and all the languages. I think somebody proved it with some. But you can prove anything, like you can basically prove. I don't know. Donald Trump is a lizard person, probably, um, but
Would explain a lot.
yeah.
Anyway, you have outed yourself. Kate Bertinsky says 100 years ago, which is when you read this theory was 100 years ago. So you really are an English vampire. We already found out earlier you were born in Transylvania.
Yes, I'm a vampire confirmed.
Well, that's a good question. Jess says Galadriel is
Galadriel.
one of her favorite characters. Do you have a favorite character within his works?
Um, yes. I always, I love the bad boys.
Okay.
So sadly, about Sauron, we don't know a lot. But I really love the Witch King of Angmar, and we don't know a lot about him. And I just wrote a video on him. I hope it will drop next week. I have to edit it. Um, because when this is not in the Lord of the Ring books, but if you know the appendices, he made war on the Numenorians, who then settled after the fall of Numenor in three regions, and he made war on them, and it's really cool and epic. And you always need a good baddie to to forward the plot, because otherwise it would just be boring. Happy elves and happy hobbits, that would be super boring, right? So yeah, I love the baddies, and I love the little people, like little things like Farmer Maggot. I don't know if anybody remembers them. He has got a bigger role in the book, because all these little people, they help to solve the problem in the end, and this is what the book is about, friendship and the deeds of the little people. And so I love the little side characters a lot. But yes, Galadriel is awesome. I love her, especially when you know her from the ages before.
Mm-hmm. So I think now is as good a time as any that I've got you on here. I don't know how. I've read the books for Lord of the Rings one time, and it was like when the movies were coming out. So it's been a long, long time. But do you recognize that right there? Can you tell what that is? Painted on the
Behind.
wall. Yes, painted on the wall behind me. There's a tree. There's another tree over there. I show you, but yeah, it's pain. So forest. Can you tell what that is?
So
Right
is
there.
that the Swan Haven?
It is a swan boat. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This room is painted in the style of Lothlorien because this used
Oh,
to be my daughter's room, and as my mother points out, yes, I have a daughter named Lorien,
oh, so
and
you have a melon tree and everything there.
she is
Okay.
named after Lothlorien. Yes.
That's so cool. And I didn't know that. Look.
I have
That's
another daughter. We were talking earlier about movies. I have another daughter. My oldest is named Elora, which is the baby princess from the movie Willow,
yeah.
too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. If I have when I have kids, I'll definitely give them like a second or third super geeky name. I mean, what can they do? They can't speak with age 0, so I'll give them that name. And
Right.
I think I read a meme somewhere like there was Geralt, and he said, like, the meme said, "Oh, shit! Now, all the kids, boomer kids, will be named Yennefer and Geralt and whatnot." So
Right.
it's true. Like
I
after
believe
Star Wars, Luke and Leia, and all these names.
I believe it's pronounced Geralt. I'm sorry, that's a throwback to me mispronouncing it when we were doing the Witcher stream. I said Geralt, and everybody made fun of me. I know it's Geralt.
Yeah, I would say Geralt. That would
Okay.
be German version, but the
Right.
Polish one, I don't even know how to speak that in Polish.
Um, Geralt is good enough for me. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm an
Everybody,
American. We half-ass our way through everything we say.
yeehaw.
Yep.
I love the word y'all.
Y'all, yeah, I use it every
Yeah.
day.
That's
Well,
so
I'm from
American.
Texas, so y'all is like it's just part of my normal vocabulary.
Oh God.
You should wait till I really turn on. How y'all doing today?
That's like probably the most American thing I've seen in a while.
Okay, you're welcome. Question mark.
Yeah.
I've got a. You should name your kid should be named Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor.
There you go.
Yep. If it's a boy or girl, who cares? Nobody
Right.
will know.
Well, I mean, I know Celebrimbor he's a man, but
Yeah.
all elves are kind of androgynous, if you ask me.
Yes. Yeah. Well, in the later time before, yeah, but you're no, you're right. Yeah, Elsa. There are few who are not.
Okay, so guys, we got about maybe 15 minutes left. So any last minute questions for Helen? Get them into the chat now, and we'll try to get to them. And Helen, I'm going to close up with a couple of questions about. You've lived a pretty interesting life. I know you travel a lot. You've lived here. You've lived there. Like guys, she was skiing yesterday in Austria. Is that right?
Yes.
You sent me pictures of a beautiful snow-covered slope.
Yeah.
Um, so
But
you
everything is so close, and like you drive, no matter, because Germany is like literally in the middle of
in the
Europe.
middle of everything, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
like the Riverlands.
yeah, it is like the Riverlands. It's true. So you drive like 2 hours, and you're in France. You drive 1.5 hour or 30 minutes from Munich, and you're in Austria or in Switzerland. So everything is so close. It's not like I go on a plane and.
Right. But Whew. You do travel a lot. I know that about you. So your life would make a great road trip movie.
It would, yeah. And I'm like open to crazy things. So I've seen a few things.
Right? So my question then is, if we're going to make a movie about your life, who would play Helen?
Of like a known actress, you mean?
Sure.
Um, oh God. So if we talk recent actress, what's that Emma
Emma
girl?
Watson,
No,
Emma Roberts, Emma
the
Stone,
the American one, the red haired
Emma Stone. You
Emma
just
Stone.
named my biggest celebrity crush.
Is she?
Oh yeah.
She's awesome. Yeah, I love
The
her.
people that know me the best already know this. Like,
Yeah,
okay, when we did the Oscar stream, one
yeah,
of the awards I gave away was for like it was I called it the Golden Hottie for sexiest person
yeah.
that was in a movie, and of course she won it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
see,
just I mean,
Bernie recognized.
yeah, I love her. I just personality wise, I think because yeah,
Mm,
she's just a crazy
I
weirdo,
agree.
likes to have fun.
So, but then who would you get to direct your movie?
Oh, huh. Like it has to be funny. It can't be overly.
Okay, so we're gonna have like a road trip comedy.
Yeah, well, but I would still say Tarantino because I'm a sucker. I love Tarantino since forever. And if you do you know the movie Four Rooms? It's it's
I
really
don't
old.
know.
It was like five directors. It was with Antonio Banderas and lots of Madonna was in there, and I think like
It
five
sounds
directors.
familiar, but
Huh? Yeah.
no, I don't know
Yeah.
if I've seen it.
And I think Tarantino so every director directed one hotel room, and it was about a page boy going to all these crazy people in these rooms, and Tarantino did one of the rooms.
Mm,
And yeah, so I love Tarantino, I think, and he does good road movies, so I would go for Tarantino.
okay, that's gonna be a weird movie. I would love to see Quentin Tarantino direct Emma Stone in a travel comedy, a
Yeah.
road trip comedy.
Yeah.
I'd watch the hell out of that. Do
Let's
you have
see.
a
Let's
title for your? Do you have a title for your movie?
um Clueless.
Clueless
Clueless.
2. Just
Clueless.
Clueless
No, Clueless, y'all.
2. You don't quite have the y'all down yet, but you're getting close.
Yeah, I'm learning. So, and when she's in America, she can pronounce it perfectly. Yeah,
Right.
Clueless, y'all. And by the way, I love Clueless. Clueless is such an amazing movie.
Now, did that
And
figure into the name of your channel, or is it just, or was it more like a play on? I don't know what I'm talking about. To be
it
sure.
both. It
Okay.
was it was kind of both. But I don't want these people to come at me and you mispronounce this or the date is not correct. Like, come on, people, give me a break. I'm not perfect, and I choose my name wisely. Read the name. But yeah, no. Clueless is epic. I love that movie.
It's a great act. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
John has a question for you, though. Helen, what are your thoughts on the 1977 animated Hobbit? I love it, of course.
Yeah, I'm not big into animated stuff except Clone Wars and Rebels.
Okay,
um,
the
because
CG animated.
yeah, it was good, but I saw it at like 10 or something or 12 because I wasn't obviously born at that time, and it was okay, but nah, I'm more into the three Lord of the Ring movies. It was okay. It's nice. It's very close to the book, which is good because
Yeah.
the later Hobbit is ridiculous and not close to the book. There were some parts in there which are fine, and the music was amazing, but Peter Jackson didn't want to make 3 movies. That was the studio who said, let's make a lot of money and let's make 3 movies out of a little book. He didn't want to do it. And you can
Yeah.
see
Yeah. I agree with you. I love the Lord of the Rings movies, the Hobbit movies, not so much.
that. Yeah.
I like Bernie's interpretation. Instead of clueless, y'all, it's y'all clueless.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, you're clueless. Come join me.
Kolnitsky points out that you are not clueless about Lord of the Rings at all, though.
Yeah,
And
I
I
try.
gotta agree. I mean, I've loved your stuff. I okay. What's coming next for you? Do you know? John's reading something for your next talk. He already said.
Yes, we're doing the Fall of Gondolin. So the Silmarillion has 3 great tales in them, and Tolkien wanted to flesh out 3 main stories. And the Fall of Gondolin is the last of the book. So it was actually the last book his son Christopher published, and it came out like 1.5 years ago. And we're going to talk about that. And it's my favorite city. I love all the. This is why I love A Song of Ice and Fire as well. I love all the houses and the history behind the houses and the sigils and that kind of stuff. And that is in Gondolin as well. And yeah, so I love that place. It's a hidden city in a valley, and it's really cool. The story behind it is really cool. And so we're going to talk about that book.
Can you give me a? All right, I'm going to ask a question. Is it in? Is it in Middle Earth proper? But
Yeah.
Gondolin. It
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
it's
like
the
it's
first
in
age.
Beleriand or whatever. Is that the right name for the continent, Beleriand?
No, but Beleriand is an area. Mhm.
Okay.
But it's you can call it Middle Earth or Arda, or there are many names, but Middle Earth is completely fine. And Gundolin is in the first age, and there was an epic battle. There were lots of battles, but the fall of Gondolin, I mean, that says it all. So
Right.
it was a hidden city, and the main baddie of the time before the third age, so Sauron's boss basically, he always wanted to find that city and kill the king, Turgon, because he knew of a prophecy that his doom would come from the city of Gondolin. So he wanted to find it and destroy it. And that's the story. And like dragons and balrogs come and destroy the city, and the king falls. And it's cool. It's epic. It's really good.
Right on. I look forward to that.
Hmm.
There's a couple more questions coming in here at the end, y'all. We're gonna take care of these last couple of questions, and then
Yeah,
we're gonna let Helen go to sleep so she can get up and go to work in the
yeah.
morning.
It's 2 a.m. here. I
I
have to
thank
get
you
up
for
in four
coming
hours.
on late.
Yes, don't worry, don't worry. I love to do this.
All right. So Aaron asked, "Do you have any plans to make audio versions of your videos available via a podcast app? She would like to listen while exercising."
Yeah, I have to. I know Robert just did that recently, right? So I have to ask him how he did that, because I have no idea if I have to invest a lot in that, because I don't have that much time. My job is like super stressful, and I can look into it, because I know a lot of people say my videos are very long and they like to, either while they drive or something, and you don't always have YouTube open. So I know about that. I look into it, definitely. If people want that, yes.
Well, there you go. She
Yeah.
said yes if you want it bad enough. Throw money at her.
No, no, no. I don't do this for money. I earn good money in my job. I do this for fun and for this, and to entertain people and to talk to people like John and you. Yeah. Betsy, your mom wants to know if I'm a fan of C.S. Lewis. Ish. And yes, they were friends. And I hopefully have a podcast out of a comparison between Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. I enjoyed the Chronicles of Narnia. I think they are too Christian and too point the finger and to for me personally, um I'm not a very religious person, and I think the Christian aspect in Tolkien is not that obvious, but it is in Lewis. And Lewis is the better writer, I think. But
but not the
it,
better world builder.
yeah, exactly. It never catched me. It's a small world and it's a good story, but would you go back and read Chronicles of Narnia every year or every second year or even for a third or fourth time? No, you wouldn't. I don't think many people would. Would you do that for A Song of Ice and Fire or for Lord of the Rings? Yes, you would. And that makes all the difference for me. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. I read it as a kid and then again with like 20-ish. Yeah. I think there were even movies out there, right? I think there were.
They made they made I think okay, so they made Lion Witch and Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and
Yeah.
what's the third book? Voyage of the Dawn Treader
Yeah.
into movies, although only the first two of those were released like in theaters, and the third one went straight to DVD, and then
Yeah.
wasn't very good. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and Betsy says Lewis is more for children, but still good stories. Completely true. I'm a committed Christian, so he speaks to me. I get that. I totally understand. I sometimes had the feeling, and this is what Tolkien felt as well, and I think this they kind of had arguments over that it sometimes feels like he wants to convert you with that, and that's what I don't like about it,
Hmm.
because in Tolkien there are aspects of Christianity. There is
There's
re
a lot actually,
reborn, yes,
but it's
as
very subtle.
it's very subtle, and you can make up your own mind. And he brings in other stuff as well, like the downfall of Numenor. That is like the drowning of Atlantis, and he has other pagan myth in there as well. So he mixes it, and I like that better in a way. It's not like in your face, and eat it or die. Um, but yeah, it's a good story.
John is correcting me. Apparently, all three of those movies were released. All three
Oh,
of the
okay.
Chronicles of Narnia movies were released in theaters because he saw one in the theater. But
What
anyway,
about C.S. Lewis Space Trilogy? Yeah, those ones are good, Jess. Yeah. Also a long, long time ago. Yeah, but good. He's a good writer. I like his style.
he is. I read the entire series when I was in sixth, seventh, eighth grade.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, that's 7 o'clock.
Or
Helen
2 a.m.
or 2 a.m. 7 o'clock for me in Central Time Zone. 8 o'clock on the East Coast. 2 o'clock in the morning in Germany.
Yeah, Helen is from the future. I'm
Yeah,
wearing the wrong shirt.
you're from tomorrow.
I'm from tomorrow. Exactly. It looks grim.
Anyway, so Helen, thank you so much for doing this. It's always a pleasure to have on an intelligent and friendly person to have a nice conversation with. I haven't got to do a no no that, and I have not gotten to do, and I know that nerd in a while. And this was it was a lot of fun. I always have a lot of fun doing it, and it was such a lovely guest. Of course, it was a great time. So once again, tell everybody where they can find you. Again, all of her links are down in the description, but tell everybody where they can find you, and if you've got anything that you haven't talked about coming up.
Okay, so thanks. First of all, I really, really appreciate that. And I must say, Stephen, you're one of the people. I mean, there like somebody like Aziz as well, but you're one of the people who really supports, especially like small creators. And you always Twitter and you always mention stuff. So that's so, so, so cool of you. And I think this speaks for this community as well. If it brings out people like you, and I really, really appreciate that. And you were sick as well. It's early morning for me, but you were sick, so so nice that you did that. I really enjoyed it as well, and I can't wait to geek out in real person with you again, or dance with you and Amanda. And yeah, for if what's next for me. So I will continue dropping one lore video a week, and every second week John and I will have a live stream, and Carol is crazy busy right now, but she'll be back, so we'll have our podcast. And I really plan to get Star Wars content on my channel as well. As of now, I don't have the time, but I'm big into the old legends books. I read all the like literally, I have all the books and comics here, and I'm thinking about doing something about that, because with somebody like Filoni, he brings in a lot of legend characters recently, and I think that there'll be more. And maybe I do something with that. You know, I love stuff like Mara Jade. She's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And yeah, I mean, there are so many Star Wars channels out there. So I have a look into it. For now, Lord of the Rings, but as I said, Star Wars is my first fandom love, and maybe I'll have the time mid of the year ish.
Well, I certainly hope so. And anything you make, I will watch it and spread the word for it.
Same. Thank you. And
And
I love
so,
this format. Yeah.
yeah, I do too. I it's the reason I keep coming back to it. So yeah, guys, that's it for this week. So make sure you join us next week. We're going to be talking Serenity and Firefly. Nessie has only just recently watched it. I'm going to try to go back over some of my favorites this week. I've got I got some downtime, so that's next Sunday. Sunday after that is we're going to be watching a movie. Jai and I will be doing a retro review on an older nerdy movie, and
Twitter the hell out of it. I
yeah,
will suggest a few.
tweet
Yeah.
me with your suggestions. But yeah, until then, you guys, you know what we do around here. Peace and be excellent to each other.
Bye bye. Good
Oh,
night.
if you want that Ice and Fire Con ticket, hit me up. It's free. Hit me up. All right. Now, peace and be excellent to each other.